am or have ever seen me before. I'm with CTG Studios. Currently, we're on our family-friendly channel called Convertible Turtle Gaming, and I am always joined, if at all possible, by my wonderful co-star and colleague, Rusty Q. Corrington. And he is currently not having a good time. I'll explain that. You may or may not be able to see the windows. They are covered in humidity. Right now our humidity level is something like 85% in Georgia, where I'm at. So normally what he does is he sits there at that window and he goes and stares at all the dogs and the cats and the squirrels and all the amazing things that he likes to just kind of make noise at. But hey, good morning, Hobbs. Good morning, Hobbs. But he's currently just kind of just sniffing the window occasionally. The one thing we did almost 2 weeks ago is we made some jerky. All this is for dog treats. We took chicken, we cut it really, really, really thin, and put it in the oven at a real low temperature, got it up to be a cooked temperature, and he likes this kind of stuff. So I can at least get him to kind of look at the camera and say hi to y'all. And it's real low calorie for him, real lean. He likes to chew on it. Hey, Rusty. Hey, buddy. You want a piece of chicken? You want a piece of chicken? Yeah? Come here, buddy. Yeah. That window ain't going to do any change. Yeah. Yeah, ready? Can you catch it? Oh, I don't know if you guys can see the tongue blep, though, is just real. He does it all the time. His tongue just sticks out. It's the cutest thing. But we've got a couple extra treats. So hopefully during the course of the stream, we'll be able to feed him a little bit or a nibble and maybe get him to come closer to the camera than what he normally does. Yeah. 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 Can you look up at all the people on the YouTube? Yeah. You want to catch it? 1, 2, 3, catch. Oh, you missed, buddy. We'll keep these other pieces here so later we can possibly get his attention again. Alright. But, so our progress tracker, because we haven't played in a long time, hasn't changed in a long time. Oh, he knows I got this little nub, but that one piece still left. There we go. That one he caught midair. Alright. So, oh, what's that? Decayed. Wait. That's funny. Okay. Let's. Hey, Chadley. Hello. All right. So let's go back to our other account. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I've got multiple save files on multiple things, doing some recording on some other ones and stuff, right, for other content that we're building and making. Which hopefully one of these days will be finalized. But oddly, that was... There we go. This looks a lot better. Kakariko Village. There we go. I was like, wait a second. This looks really weird. But so... a lot of changes in my personal life have happened. And it's one of those things that I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit, and so I tend to, when things frustrate me and get me irritated, I don't do really well. I know I seem like a real chill dude, and for the most part, I try to keep that as real as possible for that. But that's what we were doing. I'm trying to remember what we were doing on the last stream. But the work thing really hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Alright, so we were doing the stars for the ones that we got to, if I remember right. And the squares are the ones that we haven't got to. Easy way to check that is just to go over here and travel. So, I work for a large cable company. Everybody knows that. Recently, two very large cable companies very publicly announced that they're merging. I do work for one of those two cable companies. Newsflash, because I live in Atlanta and have talked about the work at the headquarters. It's pretty easy to guess that I work for Cox Communications. Great company, wonderful company. Been with the company for a very long time, since 2003. I have had issues at times with departments, but never with the company. The way I always like to tell it to people that ask me, Mag, what's it like working for the company? They are one of the companies who have always made the best bad decisions they can make. And that's, hey, Sue! I've been playing a lot of Palia, and I've been playing a lot of Fallout, and it's going to be messing with my head for a little bit as my body adjusts to the bottom button being back and the right button being accept things. But thankfully, those are the only things that really kind of change on those. But yeah, so they make the best decisions that they can that are bad decisions when they have to make a bad decision. And my company, a lot of other companies too, have not been really doing well in the single market for services and customers and all those other fun things. Largely, it's highly competitive. I mean, it's really what it boils down to. I am going the wrong direction. We need to go this way. And not irritate or anger the wonderful Gleeok. And so in a highly competitive market like that, there's a lot of things you can do. And one of the things that a lot of companies do, for the larger companies especially, is and it's not a great practice, right? But it is one that every large company that can juggle their stuff around does. That's the wrong button. All right. And that is, if you aren't doing so well in a certain area, like the competitor is beating you in a place, say like Oklahoma, for instance, right? Then what you can do is you can lower your prices in Oklahoma, but you still got to make that money back. So you'll have like a price increase somewhere else. All right, so one of these. Hey, am I playing on the Switch 2? No, Tom Sonic, I am not. I'm still playing on the Switch 1. It's such higher-line text, you cannot read it, but we need to take a photo. So, alright, and capture that one. Boom. Alright, so it is the stars that are the ones we've gone to, so hey, I again need to get the buttons labeled, right? Edit stamp, put that back to a star. Okay. And so larger companies will always use that tactic to where, hey, we're not doing so well in this area. We really need to get customers in this area. What do we do about that? And then it becomes simply, I know what we'll do is we will... I bet I can... Well, no, I need to go here maybe to get to there. And then they'll be able to make up that finances somewhere, right? And that helps a little bit. But all it does long term is it really makes your customers in the area that you're increasing the prices at really not happy. Because most companies, they just raise that by a little bit. It's like, hey, your bill's going up like $5 this month. And they don't tell you that it's going up $5 that month because they're giving people like $20 off. And it's not like one place that has the bill increase, right? Like if you're going to adjust your bill for all your customers by like $20, then you really need to make up that $20 somewhere. So you can't just raise one, area by like $5. You got to raise like 4 areas by $5 to make the difference in the cost. And so that's a little bit of the way it all works, but it still doesn't do enough in most cases, right? Especially because there's a memory that people have, like, hey, my bill really wasn't all that hot, and maybe my services weren't all that good. And and cable is it's not a perfect product. I mean, it's a great product, don't get me wrong. I love the speeds I get, but we talk about issues that we have with Comcast all the time, right? I think... Oh, okay, there's a tower here, so this is great. But so, as things happen and certain industries kind of ebb and flow, it's always been kind of an easy thing to deal with a lot of different companies. But a lot of landline providers and cable providers and internet providers have run into a really surprising technology kind of, didn't necessarily come out of left field, but it did get really, really good, really, really fast after being really bad for a very long time. And that is the home internet services that you see a lot of cell phone carrier companies offering. Okay, so I need to pop out like a Pop-Tart, and I need to be facing to the northeast. Alright. And so it's one thing to be like, well, you know, we are this cable provider, and we offer this service, and we're able to do these things for you. And all we need to do is have an appointment between like 3 and 5. Excuse me. Well, maybe we don't get to shoot that guy after all. But it's another thing to say, hey, we're getting internet, and we're going to go over to the local cellular company, and we're going to buy a box that's probably this tall, right? And it's probably like this square. And we're going to go take it to our house. We're going to hook it up to power. We're not going to do anything else to it. And it's going to get a cell phone signal from your cell phone tower. And we're going to have really good speed internet. Now, I have tested several home internet devices in a laboratory environment. I have seen how good they can be. And I've seen that they're not. Oh, we have a shrine nearby below. Oh, we sure do. We have something here. It looks like. Oh, we have a dispenser here that we didn't even have. Well, I'm not going to turn down a dispenser. We haven't done one of these in a very long time. Okay. At least I don't think we've done this, right? Ooh, it could be anything. Turtle Club, this could have a boat inside. But the services for those went from being... wait. Am I not doing it right? Thought I was doing it right. I was doing hold, but then it wasn't doing hold. Okay. So now that there's this great new product out there, carriers like my company, we're having to deal with the fact that there is it's not even really a competitor in the traditional sense, right? It's kind of like saying that the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 5 are in competition with each other. They're not, right? Because, I mean, love my Switch. The Switch 2 even, right? Love those consoles. But those two consoles are not going to beat out the PlayStation 3, really, when it comes to graphics and processing power. And I don't think anyone has to really say, hey, what do you mean by that? When you can simply do something like look at the Mortal Kombat game that came out. I don't remember if we can do... Will they eat Zonite? No, we won't eat Zonite. That's right, we have to process it into charges. Alright. And so, but most people don't have the same needs when it comes to internet service. That's the other big thing. All these weapons that are rusty. Crazy. Some cool Cephalina. So, and that's kind of what happened to a lot of your traditional internet carriers. is all of a sudden, you know, the industry wasn't like your average person needs the fastest internet. They don't need to have the upload streams that I need, right? Hi. Examine. I can teleport back here, which is great. Seek the crystal connected to the beam. Yep. Hey, swoo. Welcome to the Turtle Club. But, so yeah. Alright, I'm looking for a beam of light. Oh, it's over there somewhere. Okay. Well, we can travel back here. But, oh, why did this default back to top chat? Let's go back to live chat. Okay. But so, a lot of companies, and mine included, found themselves in a situation where they were like, wait a second. Wait a second. What was going on? Why was it all the way we didn't think it was going to be? Alright, so that looks like non-climbable. That's a trash. That is okay. So in the grand scheme of things, we kind of need to go through this anyways, so we can kind of like glide over there, right? Because that's where we're trying to get. Okay, so. But all that to say, a lot of companies are kind of in a situation where they're struggling a bit. If I were to aim that there, I don't know if we make it, but for science we have to find out, right? Hey, we did make it. Oh, one of these, huh? Probably in the other hollow. So my company was facing a bit of a problem, right? And Charter also facing a bit of a problem, in so much that they really were kind of in a similar spot. And so their decision was that they should just, you know, merge. Now, those that aren't familiar with Charter, Spectrum is the name that they kind of go by a lot more. Woohoo! We got a Korok! And progress tracker up to 105 of the Koroks. Alright, Rusty, what do you think? Does a Korok deserve a chicken treat? Treato? Yeah? Yeah? Does it? Hey, buddy. You want one? Here we go. Ready? Catch. Ah, he missed it again. He's usually really good at catching those midair, but again, he's been just kind of I think the weather's just really getting to him. But so, really big, huge announcement of the company merging. It's actually really exciting, to be honest, because the company that I work for and the company that we're merging with, together we have so much more reach. I think what we need to do is we need to actually get on this thing and ride it like an elevator. But in order to do that, we need to move it, right? So we need to use... Well, no, that should... No? Okay, well... I was pretty sure that these move, right? Well, that wasn't good. Well, that explains why it doesn't move. Because it wasn't attached. Oh my goodness. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. We can fix that. We can fix that. We can fix that in post, as they say, right? Alright. But the one thing when you take companies like the one I work for and a company like Charter, and you combine them, you have things. And you have things that one company does and that the other company doesn't do. And you have to start kind of figuring out, you know, well, what's the right way to do things? Who's got the proper method to do things? Yeah, let's just mark this down and let it go down. Okay, it doesn't want to do that. I could swear that these things move. Like we've used rockets to move them, right? Oh. No, it's pulling the right way. Alright, well, at least it looks like it's safe for us to go down here, so we can just go down here and figure all this out inside of here. So one of the things that is exciting about all of it is the company I work for has been looking at redefining a way that they handle a lot of their actual employees. And one of those things is getting my position back to a lot of what I used to do in the past. And they've been kind of working on it and doing pretty good on it, but parts of that have not been as good as they could be. Alright. So we have this big old giant rock. We have some pieces. Let's just set that down. Alright. Clearly this giant barge should be flyable. Providing we, you know, kit it with the right stuff. And I'm thankful for that, right? So it's like, okay, well, we are going to wind up with a lot of cool things for my group. We're going to wind up with some really good responsibilities for my group. And wrong button. Okay. Grab this. Yeah, that's a good question. Without having battery power, I don't know. Like, maybe it's a property of the material it's made out of. Like, that's a possibility, right? Like, if it's got some sort of capabilities that way. Alright, so now what we need to do is we just need to grab all these together and join them. Just in a nice little care package to grab, so it's very few trips. So that's exciting though, right? So the department that I work for, the equivalent is for the company that we're merging with, they consider what I do to be a much more mission critical thing. And that means that I'm going to have some things shift in that way. And so for that, I'm excited. Alright, so let's rotate you, put you there. But on the flip side, there's some things that other companies don't do that my company has done for a very, very long time. And one of the reasons why I've worked for this company for a very long period, I'm sure I've said on stream a couple times, is that the company I work for, you know, they are former Fortune 500. They're one of the few companies out there that still has a pension plan. And they also have, you know, a number of retirement benefits that more than make up for 95% of what I put up with this company. But the new company has to keep in mind a lot of things. And one of those things is that, well, all the employees that they're going to be getting and all the employees that they currently have, if they're going to maintain the pension plan, then they're going to have to pay for that for all those employees. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to do that. So instead of having an active pension plan, as soon as the government decides whether or not our companies can merge, my pension ceases to acquire any additional funding. I'm not losing my pension, so that's a plus. But any hours I work, any position I have, any part, remaining stuff I do for the company, is not going to acquire me any additional pension. So that is kind of problematic. Alright, so do I have any other batteries? Because while I would like to think that this is going to be more than enough, I don't think it's going to. So let's just put this battery there. And so that's kind of a problem, right? It's not a horrible problem, but it is a bit of a problem. When you realize that one of the reasons why I work for a certain company is because of the pension, and then the company's like, well, you can still work, you can still have the pension, but unfortunately you're no longer going to be adding anything to that pension. Alright, we'll just park this here. And so that kind of stings. That I am nowhere near retirement age. I know I joke that I'm old. I feel old. There are days that I wake out of bed and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've gained 50 years. And I feel that way sometimes. But for the most part, by most of the metrics that a lot of other companies and people and individuals use, I'm in my 40s. Sure, that's ancient if you're a teenager. If you're in your 30s, you don't think 40 is old because you are almost 40. But it is, in some cases old. But in other cases, like from a working environment and corporation structure, it's not old. You're not old enough to no longer need to be a working employee for a lot of companies until you're 65, if they have a useful retirement plan. In some cases, you can get away with 55. Where I work, 55 is the magic number. And I'm 43. Now, if your time with the company, plus the time that you've worked with the company, and your age, if those all add up to over 65, they can do some things. I've been with the company for 22 years. It's not over 65. So I'm kind of in this spot where a lot of the things that could go good for me aren't going to go good for me. They're not going to go horrible. Things could be better, right? And that all kind of happened. That was all kind of a lot of news. The good news is that the company that is going to be the new company, for most reports and analysts and talk and discussion, they pay their employers more than what my company pays. So at the end of it all, I'm probably going to get a healthy, substantial pay increase. I'm going to lose some benefits, but I am going to get a pay increase, so that kind of has to be weighed out. The other kind of big wind out of the sails moment was that my company has to operate as my company until all the merger stuff happens. That's a typical thing for mergers. We can't be making decisions based upon what the future company is going to be made, because at the end of the day, the future company couldn't even happen. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, could go, your two companies would be far too big, or not have a good competition with the other companies if you all were to merge. Those kind of things. Things that protect against monopolies, right? If our company were to merge, we would become the largest cable company in the United States. We would have the most number of customers. We would have the most number of potential customers. So those are things that have to be considered, especially if we go back to what I was discussing earlier, how one cable company will go like, this city doesn't get really good prices, and this city does for a while, because of the way you could balance things. If we have more places to adjust our prices with, then that becomes a really good competitive advantage. I just realized going inside there and then coming out potentially made everything out here as far as zonite structures just respawn. And so, yeah, my little makeshift dirigible is gone now, right? Yep, it's gone. That is sad. But we can still, no, Windows, we do not need to reboot our streaming computer in the middle of a stream. What is your problem? Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, so we need to make sure that this is pointed more or less the direction we want. And it looks like it almost is. There we go. Nope, we need to go back just a little bit. There we go. Now we can fire ourselves out of this launchable, almost cannon-like structure, right? Woohoo! So the other thing, because of that, because our company still has to operate like they are always going to operate if this should not happen, we have to face the reality of the company situation. This has been a bad year for not just my company, but the other company and several other companies involved. And the last couple of years, a lot of industry companies like this have put in what's called a hiring freeze at the beginning of the year. And sometimes it's a hiring frost, meaning they can't have new positions posted, but they can still hire positions. In this particular instance, we went to a frost, which means that we weren't able to post any new positions, but we could, hire. Oh, we got to go to our album and delete some stuff. But that quickly became... I don't even remember what that was. Oh, that was the one photo for the... Okay, so let's go up to the top and see if we can delete some of these. What, pray tell, is that? That's a bug. I don't think we need a bug. That's a lizard. We don't need this lizard. But because we have this... So these are things that we did for the album, right? They go into the album. They also end up being places. So there was a individual in my department. They've been with the company for a very long time. They are retiring as of today. So congrats to my coworker. They are moving forward with another chapter of their life. I just took a photo of this one, right? Because that's what filled up the album. So now we can go over here, go back to our map. And the way that was going to work in our department is that individual's position, because they are a rank 4 engineer, was going to... Oh, does it actually mark them as deciphered on the map? It does. Hey. Nice. So we just delete those. Probably should check to make sure that they do in fact say deciphered before I delete them, right? But yeah, he's a level 4 engineer, which means that the level 3 engineer position that I applied for previously wasn't going to be affected per se, but there's a really good chance that when a level 4 engineer leaves, you backfill that position with one of your level 3s, which then means a level 3 was going to open up. And so I was really thinking that maybe this is where I was going to be finally get the level 3 position that I applied for. And then I haven't translated that one. So, okay, so that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these tablets left. And that one looks like it's pretty close. So let's just travel there. And so that after I had some time to process that the company I work for is going away because the merged entity will be a new company with new policies, new culture, and new offices. One of the things that the new company is probably going to take from the old company is they are not a remote company. They do not believe that employees working from home are properly managed, I think is the words that was used. So, you know, that's kind of a downer, right? I work in Atlanta. I could probably just YOLO over there, but let's not. Let's be smarter about this, right? But I live 40 miles away from the office, which is perfectly fine for the company. They have a requirement that you have no more than 50 miles away. But it means that if I drive in Atlanta traffic to the office on the times that it's been vaguely required, that we would be expected to be on the highway for an hour, sometimes longer, depending upon how bad it is. Usually it's about an hour and 20 minutes for me to get to the office from where I live. And that you know, it's not great. Is there any towers down here? There's a tower there, right? That's a good tower to go to. So if the other company is going to do away from the work from home program, then I'm looking at losing well, honestly, all my streaming. I mean, straight up. If I'm leaving the office at 6:30 in the morning and I'm driving an hour and a half to get home, and I still need to make sure that Rusty has all of the things that he needs to you know, eat, go on a morning walk, and do all that, and still be in bed by 6 o'clock, or by, I mean, not 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, so I can be awake and on the highway by 6, so I can be back in the office in time, then I'm just not going to have the time to stream. So that is unfortunate. So what that is boiling down to, am I not going the right direction at all? What direction do I need to go first? I need to go southeast. So, and that is just, that fact is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg, right? That is a far unfortunate but very disruptive thing. Well, kind of feel like we have to kill this guy, right? I mean, he's going to have loot. Excuse you. You just want to pull your head off for a second, and then we need to get the Master Sword. Oh, we've already destroyed this one. That's unfortunate. Alright, this is going to be one of those. Alright, then we got to do recall on. Wrong button. Alright, where are you at? Can you shoot the next ones at me? Because you're like way up there. I feel like this is very unfair. Alright, I don't think you're unfair anymore. Oh. Where's the other one? Seriously? Alright, so, wow, okay. That's fine. Oh. Oh. Homing cart. Neat. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do this. We already got that. Is there anything here that we can... That's not bad. Let's just do that, though. Fuse. Boom. There we go. Alright, so back this way. So, you know, losing streaming, kind of unfortunate. The other thing is that a lot of the advantages and the good things that are going to happen are good, don't get me wrong. But I feel like I should be seeing this thing at this point, and I'm not. Why wasn't I seeing it? Why is there so many... What in the... What? What? Hudson, what's going on over here? Must be a new neighborhood or something? Alright, that's fine. Alright, back to the tower. Because we clearly didn't get high up enough to get to where we had to go. I must have missed it somehow. But yeah, so not being able to get the promotion I was hoping for this year. Currently in a hiring freeze with the gentleman who's retiring not being able to potentially, you know, backfill that spot. Well, that's also a problem. It also is an issue with the fact that my department doesn't have they're not going to be getting additional headcount. Oh, it's all the way up there. Okay, so if it's all the way up there, then maybe we need to go over here. And jump down. Which, my department losing one headcount is requiring a lot of people to change their schedules by considerable number of hours. Mainly we're going to be using the magical tragic words that anybody who's worked in an office has learned to hate of Six Sigma. And Six Sigma basically means that you are going to hopefully, that might actually be better that way. Okay. This is where we're trying to get to, right? Yeah. Alright, so can we get there? By basically more or less deciding, you know, there is a chance that this could happen. Like, let's say that you're an airline, right? And like Delta, and Delta says, hey, there is a chance that this plane could have something happen to it and it won't work anymore. Oh, there's a treasure chest that respawned down there. Neat. And if that were to happen, that would be bad. We all know that would be bad. Plane wrecks are not great things, right? We all can agree on those kind of things are just nothing that anybody wants to see or ever happen or ever have happen. But what they'll do is they'll say, well, what are the odds that will happen? Well, the odds that it will happen gets to a certain point where they crunch the numbers, kind of like the movie Fight Club, right? And they're like, well, the odds of this happening are less than half of a percent for this period of time. And when that happens, most companies say, okay, well, if we're looking at half of a percent of us having a catastrophic failure during this time, do we necessarily have to have somebody there? And is half a percent really a huge problem? Or is it better, or is half a percent, if it does happen, is it so costly that we would have been better paying somebody to be there to respond? And that happens just about everywhere, right? I mean, think about your fast food joints, like if you go to Wendy's and you're like, oh, they don't have enough people to really be able to take the order at this hour. What's going on with that? And you ask them, and they're like, well, we usually don't have a lot of orders here, and so our business only hires like 2 people to work the whole entire store. And you'll see that a lot of restaurants, like when it's getting close to closing time, they have less and less people, and that's fine for the business. It helps them to keep their bottom line where they need to have it. But as a consumer, it does mean that there are times where, well, you really want a biggie bag or something, but there's just nobody there to take your order because they never thought that you'd have a biggie bag there. All right, we have another vending machine. Woohoo! Now, thankfully, in the regards to the headcount thing, I'm not one of the individuals that are going to actually have to adjust their life. But I am one of the individuals that's going to have to clean up the mess should that small percentage chance of something going wrong go wrong. So that's fun. Nothing like going into the office and realizing that you may be walking into something that has been, burning for hours. Alright, so we want to launch ourselves above this because this looks fun. Shiny squirrels while we get text. I'm willing to bet this giant sphere is just the least of our worries. Maybe not. Maybe it's like one of those ice cream things where you go in and it sure is. Okay. Oh, this looks fun. This looks lots of fun. That's one of those Okay. Well, now I can see how this is supposed to go. Okay. So this needs to go here. Needs to sit right on top of that. Buddy, I know. You can't see anything out of there, can you? Alright, come here. You got a couple of bites left, buddy. Yeah. 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 You ready to catch it? Ready? 1, 2, 3, catch. There you go. There you go. I knew you'd get one of them on camera. There we go. Alright, so we need to climb this wall, maybe? Is it climbable? Yeah, it's climbable. Woohoo! So the company that we're merging with and all that, right? it looks to be like a great company. They are going to have places that I can move to, possibly, which is kind of important for, you know, again, Digger and I always thinking about our retirement and where we want to go when things are all said and done. Well, I was looking for a way to get down there, but I don't see a way to get down there. So is this one where I maybe use God Hand and just completely manipulate the whole thing? Possibly. So let's go back there. Thankfully we can fast travel while we're doing these puzzles, right? But the thing is, though, is once this does merge, though, my 10-year plan, which I was currently about 3 years away from finishing, is no longer going to work. So the company I do work for right now is part of a larger company, and they are owned by a company that has a larger portfolio, and only the part of the company I work for is what's being part of the merger. And, well, there's a couple other pieces, but the pieces that I'm worried about, the one that I work in is the only one that's going to stay there. Alright, so... Oh, well, that was silly. Okay, so I can't move it that way. Sure, I can move those around, but that doesn't give me anything. Can those be moved? Nope. That can be moved. Oh, okay. So that can be moved. Interesting. All right. I know how I'd like to do this, but I also know how luck works, right? Okay. That looks like one of those, Huh. Let's just shoot that there and see what happens. So that's what happens. It's good to know. Huh. Dazzle fruit. Okay. Well, if they're showing me dazzle fruit, then that means that the dazzle fruit might do something better. Right? Actually, hold up. Hold up. Let's do something that Sue might not entirely approve of, but might approve of. And... okay, so let's take you, attach you. Okay. And then... can we give it wings? Do we need to give it wings? I feel like we need to give it wings. Well, that's not good. Will you upright if we attach you there? Well, maybe you'll fly just well enough. Hey! Well, that's a problem. But I think it's a fixable problem. But yeah, so where I was hoping to retire, where I was hoping to go in the company, all that kind of stuff is going to go away. Possibly. And that's kind of a nice little asterisk. That's the one thing that's kept me in a mostly sane position. If I can finish the rest of my schooling, have enough of a developed portfolio, and manage to find... No, it's not what I wanted. Didn't want to do that. But if I'm able to do a considerable number of things... Wait, what's going on? Why are you not moving the way you should be moving? There we go. And it's a few things that have to go well, but I can manage to likely get to the part of the company that is the parent company that I'm trying to get to be able to still work on my retirement plan. It just means that my 3 years I had left on my 10-year plan, I'm gonna have to expedite it to like 8 months. Not impossible, right? I mean, people have done things like that all the time, but it does mean that a lot of things are going to have to go right, and I'm going to have to get lucky on a lot of things. Alright, no. I want... Right, we get that. We attach. We do this, we do that. There we go. Then we attach. Alright. And, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't in the it feels weird to say this, right? But I'm in a pretty good position. There's a lot of people that are not in a good position. Can I just... Do I have any way to make this fly? No. Not really. Alright, so... And that was what I was expecting it was going to be. Okay. Maybe we can do this, though. Maybe we can do that. Set you there. Climb on. We really had a really strong chance with the rocket, and unfortunately the rocket just went poorly for us. Okay. Okay. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. This is something we can still do. This is something we still do. Right? Come on. Ah. Uh-huh. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Grab one of these. I want to grab one of you. Put you right there. And then attach you right there. Okay. Why can't I grab you? I know you're not too far. Right? There's no way you can be too far. Yeah. Because that's like right there, right? There we go. Alright. Come out, please. Thank you. Alright. And... aha! There. Now this should work. We just need to think about the fact that we didn't do half the stuff that we were hoping to do. Actually, you know what? I could have just done this and just flew out of here, right? Probably should have. Do I have the zonite for that? I do. Alright, well that's silly. That'll get us the... yeah. Set this over here. How about we just attach it to like this. Come over here. Grab one of these. And attach. Alright, and move that there. Alright, cool. I didn't think this through. I did not think this through. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's probably not fine, but... okay. Let's just go back down with this for a second. went a lot faster than I was expecting it was. Alright. Okay, so we need that to be, like, not attached, I think. So I can grab it. And yeah, if we can do that maybe. Alright. Okay. Ooh, that's actually that's probably even better, right? Well, that's unfortunate, but maybe. Ha! We got it. It's just set you right there. Alright, and you can't take out this device there. Okay, well, that's rude, but if I were to grab it, not that, if I were to grab this. Oh, that's a really bad. There's probably enough kinetic energy to launch this the way we would need to launch it, right? Probably not, but maybe. Let's just set you down like right here. And we probably want you like aimed like a bullet, right? Alright, and we are over time, but this either works or it doesn't, so. Hey, it worked! No, don't roll off the edge. Okay. Alright, well we have a really good stopping point then. Because now we can go over and get the shrine door, and we'll be able to start on the shrine on Monday morning. So looking forward to that. And yeah, glad to be streaming again though, guys. Glad to be streaming. Wonder if this is just going to be one of those go in and do things shrines, or if this is going to be one of those go in and do a lot of things shrines. Usually you can kind of see inside to see what it looks like, right? That looks like a lot of things. That doesn't look like just to go in and get the treasure chest thing. So we're gonna have to leave it here, guys. Turtle Club, it's been fun. It's been good. We did a pretty good amount of things. Oh, Rusty, hey buddy. It's your last one. It's your last one. Yeah. Yeah. Come over for it? Yeah? No? Yeah. Alright, well you just eat it there. Well, Tobbs, Chadley, Sue, Tom Sonic, thank you all for showing up and chatting with me. Making this, as always, a channel. It's just a guy playing video games on the internet until you guys show up and say hello. So really think that. Progress is always good. Exactly. It's one foot in front of the other. Sometimes You don't even get that other foot in front of the other, but you can actually clear the path ahead. And that's the important part. Just a little bit incremental at times. We have a lot more Zelda to play, and looking forward to all that. And looking forward to maybe doing some other stuff too in between the gaps. We'll have to see how that looks like. But I'm going to have myself a good night. You all out there, Turtle Club, have yourself a good breakfast, good lunch, good dinner, whatever you're about to do. As always, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a good one. Take care, and thanks for watching, y'all.